that's the the opening chords for a song by David Gates called If. And I saw that on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, well, that's a really good, nice progression for beginning guitar students to use as a warm-up. So I turned it into a lesson, and I was teaching some friends, and they thought, well, why don't you record it and then we could refer to it. And I thought, it's not a bad idea. I started posting videos on YouTube only 12, 14 years ago, and they're mostly of my friends playing guitar. And I've never posted a guitar lesson, but I thought I'd try this. The thing about classical guitar technique is it doesn't really come naturally. You need help in learning how to do it properly. And although I'm not a great guitarist, I have taught in the past, and so I thought I'd share some things with you. And the thing about playing guitar is you've got the right hand, you've got the left hand, you've got memory, you've got reading, you've got rhythm, you've got phrasing, musicality. There's a lot of things going on, and so it's really hard to do everything at once. So when I teach, I try to break things down to one thing at a time, and so that you break up your practice into concentrating on just the left hand, just the right hand, just this fingering, just getting the rhythm right, or just the melody by itself, and then just the chord, just the accompaniment. And so when you do that, everything starts to fall in place, and then you begin to play music. So this piece, just the intro that I just played right now, is a really nice way to start playing the guitar every day. I asked a couple of friends, because I was helping Larry teach at City College, and we taught them a diatonic scale, E minor scale, and when they finished the class, they could play it. But when I asked them to play it 3-4 months later, they didn't remember it. And I thought, well, if I showed them the intro to If by David Gates, they would play it because it sounds great. And there's so much to learn from that. That's the thing. And if you break it down to just the left hand, the chords are this. So the last chord is the E7. The other chords, I gave it names, but the names don't really matter. What's really nice about it is this line. And that's really the predominant line that is brought out. To bring it out, you need to work between the right hand and the left hand and get it smooth and legato, not having any broken line. It's just like a singer singing a continuous line. The guitar really is, or all musical instruments, really try to emulate the voice. And when the voice sings, it doesn't sing like, it goes, and not only is it continuous, it's got emotion, it's got a sense of direction. There's a point of climax in a song which the voice really has easy time doing. We instrumentalists have a hard time emulating that, but that's what music is. And so how do we put all this together? You got the right hand, you got the left hand. So I'm going to show you this chord progression with this little guitar lesson where you can begin to use some of the techniques that I use when I teach. just breaking things down, doing one thing at a time. This really is a beginner guitar lesson. It's for people that are obviously people who can play already. This is not going to be challenging for them. But for guitarists who are hobbyists, they really like the guitar and they have a hard time progressing with it. I'm going to use this as not only as a warm-up exercise, but as a one that can teach you to concentrate on the left hand, right hand, phrasing, different finger picks, and so forth. Okay, so let's start with the chords. I'm going to show you how to read this. I did this yesterday in Photoshop, and so there are 6 lines here, which represents the 6 strings, and the horizontal lines represents the frets. And this is your common tablature for chords. The first chord is A sus9. And if you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you start in the 7th fret of the 4th string. So that's up here on the 4th string. That's actually, so this is what you would play. And I'm going to zoom the camera in so you can see that better. And you don't really need to see my face anyway, so. Zoom this in. So obviously you can stop the video and copy this if you want. And this is an A sus9. Now, the problem with, okay, this is the first chord, this is the second chord. So this note, this bass note, you're only playing 4 strings here, by the way, drops to the 6th fret, then it drops to the 5th fret, the 4th fret, 3rd, 2nd. At this point, you go and play an open 4th string. So the line is a continuous chromatic line going dun, 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 dun. At this point, you play open D. Here, there's your open D. And then you go to an E7 chord, which is your basic E7 chord. And at the E7 chord, I just play, and I give it a nice retard. The camera's shaking because the cat's running around, so. And let's see if we're still focused on the sheet. Yeah, okay. So, now, when I first started this video, I played in arpeggio, and different ones, by the way, depending on how I felt, you know, but it is in 4/4 time, so I'm basically playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But before we go to the right hand, I would suggest that you learn these chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and then you just go back and forth, and you can warm up with this exercise and try to use your fingers in such a way that you don't touch, this finger doesn't touch that string, so that you get this long sustain of all. That's playing 1 string at a time, this is playing all 4 at once. And then every time there's a new day and you pick up the guitar, this is going to be your warm-up exercise. It's easy to do because it sounds good. It's not easy to do in that you have to be able to put your fingers without touching any other string. But it's not impossible. Here's the fingering. I start with my 3rd and second finger. This is your first, second, third, fourth. Another thing is, don't play like this. A lot of people make the mistake, and for years they do this, and it works for a lot of people. But in the classical technique, you want to be able to reserve one finger for each string. Okay, so if you put your third finger on the 7th fret, your second finger is going to play the 6th fret. Then it's a matter of just sliding. Instead of using the second finger, now you're using the first finger. Then this comes down. You notice it's one finger for each fret. So again. Now you shift. And at this point, you add this D note. And you go to an A. And then your D minor 7. D minor 7 with an augmented 6. with a plus 6, and you're adding a 6 in. Here's a D minor. Here's a D minor 7. Here's a 6. So instead of playing a 7th, you're playing an added augmented 6. It's actually the 6th degree from the melodic minor scale. But be that as it may, I'll just give it, the name that I gave it is D minor plus 6, plus an add 6. And then E7. Okay, so again, I think you'll be able to see this. Or make sure you can hear all 4 strings. If you're touching, so you want to come straight down, and it's important that your fingernails are below the flesh. You've got to cut your nails. Some people have really nice fingernails, but they go beyond the flesh, and that makes it difficult because when the fingernail hits the fingerboard, it doesn't allow you to give enough pressure to get a clear sound. So you have to cut your nails. You can have long nails in this hand, but short nails in this hand. So this is the finger again. I'm sorry, it's just, they both work. Okay, so that might take a while if you're a beginning guitarist. It's not hard, but you have to be accurate. Now, getting clear notes without killing them. Instead of, you gotta go. That shift. You'll notice that when I come in, I don't move from here. I come here so that the distance from here to there is short. And when as soon as I lift this, I can play that. So you can see how, as a warm-up exercise, this is going to give you a lot to work on just with your left hand. To get this, to do the correct fingering, cats. That could take you a long time. In the beginning of this, Z down, go on. I was playing a C major scale. Now this is a 2-octave scale, so when you go up to the next octave, you have to shift. scale, I worked for a long time to get the shift to be fairly unnoticeable. So that when you make the shift, you don't hear a gap. So that when you're playing lines in music, the melody doesn't have a gap if you're making a shift. So you'll notice that this shift must occur because I don't have any more fingers, so I have to be, but I want to get there without having any silence in between. So that brings up something that I discovered when I was young and practicing guitar for hours at a time. And it was, I came up with the idea that don't use any more strength than you have to. Because if you're getting a clear sound, if you give any more strength, you're not going to get any more clear. So you don't want to waste any energy by using any more strength than you have to. And when you do move at the very last moment. That way you get the most legato sound. So that economy of movement, conserving of energy, using it only when you need it, was one of the things that I followed religiously when I learned my scales, when I did all the Segovia scales, or all those years that I did it. That was how I practiced. Which reminds me, after this lesson, I am going to do another lesson on another type of warm-up exercise, which is more boring than this one. This one at least sounds good, okay? Other scale type exercises, you may not do it because it's just, for 2 hours, it's not going to be really exciting. Okay, now, so hopefully you can see now. I'll do that one more time. Do it again. And then, you could do it 10, 20, 30 times. Actually, it's such a pretty chord progression that you could do it for half an hour. Of course, I added my right hand, which is this. Okay, now this is a different type of tablature. This is looking at the guitar like this. So these 6 lines again are the 6 strings, but that top line is the thinnest string, and the bottom string is the bottom line. And I've indicated here, let's see if you can see that. Yeah. I've indicated here which strings to play. Now, I use my thumb on the 4th string, my index finger, the 1st finger, for the 3rd string. The 2nd string I'm using the middle finger, and the A finger is for the top string. So you're playing thumb, index, middle, ring finger, middle, index, middle, index. Then you repeat it. So that first finger pick is like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you don't have to stay with that first chord. If you can get all the chords fairly clear and on time, then you can do this. I'm not giving the same amount of strength for every pick, every finger pick. So I am accenting mainly that bass note, because this is what's, and even that isn't always the same volume, and that's what makes it musical. Okay, so when you practice this, of course, you can do this. You just give it equal amount of strength and you can practice. But when you get used to it, go ahead and vary the amount of strength you give to each string. And that will add to the pleasure of using these chords as a warm-up exercise. Looking at the second one, I don't play on the 3. I go 1 and 2 and 4 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and, so it comes out like this. So you can mix, you sometimes play this, sometimes play that when you do the exercise, and that gives you the feeling of spontaneity. Actually, that's how I play. When I play songs, I don't use one single strum throughout the whole song. I don't use any one finger pick throughout the whole song. I'll even go back and forth from finger picking and strumming in order to give the song variety, a feeling. It's starting here, it's going there, it's climaxing here, and it's returning here, and all that storytelling technique that we learn in crafting other art forms like storytelling applies in music. That's why this is such a great piece of music to use as a warm-up exercise. It teaches you all that stuff. The independence of the right hand. Now let's look at the third finger pick. I think I have to move the camera. Okay, so the third finger pick, again, is thumb, index, middle, ring finger, middle, index, ring. So it's so now I'm going back up instead of going, it's similar to this, except instead of coming down, I'm going up, back up to the second string. And that is where the variety comes in. So sometimes I'll do this and I don't even think about it. I just do whatever I feel like. And especially when you start singing, you can't think about all this stuff. It has to come, you have to have good muscle memory. These are just 3 finger picks. Here's, I wrote out 3 more, but you don't have to stop with these. You can use any combination. Put this back up. So you can use any combination. Now, this is a Travis pick. This one's a little different. I added these 2 because Travis picking is a really neat 4/4 finger picking style. It came out of blues guitar. The thumb plays 4/4. The thumb does 1, 2, 3, 4. And the index and middle finger plays that. So this is different from using the thumb in the previous finger pick style. So the thumb basically rotates back from the 4th string to the 3rd string. This is the I finger, thumb, middle. So you're playing thumb, index, thumb, middle. So it comes out like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Travis pick is very, very useful, and even though it's not really used in this song, it's a really good one to add for your warm up, because then once you get used to Travis pick, it just rolls along. A variation of Travis is to pluck, so you can pluck 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So you can see this warm-up exercise, when you couple it with doing things differently with the right hand and getting the left hand smoothly, you can do all kinds of stuff. The bottom, the sixth one, I think this is the one that David Cates used, and you can look it up on YouTube. But that bottom one is the one that David Cates used for this actual song, which yeah. So this is the warm-up exercise I would recommend, and I'm going to recommend it to anyone who studies with me. After the lessons, I'm going to move the camera back again. Okay, after the lessons ended last semester, during the summertime, I invited a couple of students to come to my studio, and I taught them, and there was lessons on how to sing with your guitar. And so this song came up, but of course this song is not easy to sing with when you're picking. I mean, it's easy for a lot of people who are really good at guitar, but for beginners it's very challenging. I'm thinking of doing a lesson on that as well, on singing with your guitar. But here's a Travis pick. So that's Puff the Magic Dragon, which uses basically this finger pick, the second one. If you're doing a C chord and you use a Travis pick, your thumb's playing the 5th string now, your index finger still plays the 2nd string, and your thumb now comes and plays the 4th string, and then your middle finger plays the top string. So, or you can go, so your thumb can play either the 3rd string or the 4th string. Once you get that going, you can go from the 5th string to the 6th string. That's basically the boxer, and it's the Travis pick, this one. Just a poor boy, story seldom told, I surrendered my resistance, humble such promises and whatever. And Freight Train. So that is when you're plucking to get the melody line, and Tommy Emmanuel is a master at this finger picking style. So there you have it. You have things to work on with your left hand, your right hand, bringing up the volume, quieting it down, and getting the song to sound like music, is adding the musicality that's inherent in the basic song once your technique is there. And how you do is you work on just the left, just this, get this down so that you get, don't try to finger pick, you can just, if a picture paints 1,000 words, why can't I paint you? The words will never show the you I've come to know. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, where am I to go? There's no one known but you. You're all that's left me to. And when I love that life is running dry, you'd come and pour yourself on me. If a man could be 2 places at one time, I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. If the world should stop revolving, spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the